Hey guys, Corey here, the art archaeologist. So what I've got going on today is I've been slowly building my collection of these Prima watercolors, and I've got terrain, tropicals, woodlands, and currents here. And then I just picked up these two, and this is Complexion. And this one is Vintage Pastels. So what I've done with these other ones, let me get this open. What I've done with these four is I've just done a little transparency chart for each color. So these are the woodlands. And let's go through them real quick. They have some really fun colors, and then this I just did super concentrated, and then of course just added water as I went down the line to show the different levels of transparency you can get with each color. I like to do this with all my watercolor sets because it really gives you a good idea of what you've got, and it gives you an amazing opportunity to learn your watercolors, to really get familiar with them and comfortable, and then you'll get your favorites, and it'll be so much easier and faster to have this in front of you while you're working. Look at these beautiful granulations. A lot of these Prima watercolors granulates. I am very quickly, very deeply falling in love with Prima watercolor. So here's the last woodlands, and then I just recorded the number of the color, and then of course put the color name, as you can see, because this is how their color coding system works. You get this little card with your set, and of course I always just do a quite concentrated sample of that. And then each of the colors have their number right on the side of the little pan. And I like to just keep mine in order, at least I do for now. That could change. So there's the woodlands. I'll just show you these really quick because it's so fun. Here's terrain. This is this one up here. I'm loving these watercolors. Look at all the beautiful different greens and aquas you get in terrain. All the I shouldn't say aqua, more like you know, forest foliage is the word I'm looking for. Foliage. Terrain. Okay, now here's the tropicals. These are really lovely too. And then I have noticed that I've gotten the same color in different sets, which is okay with me because some of these colors I absolutely do not mind having two of the pans of that. So, I mean, look at this Patea. I think that's how it's pronounced, number 19. Look at how vibrant you can make this color, and then you can come all the way over here and make it the most soft, translucent, rose petal, beautiful pale pink. Just amazing, these colors. So there's those, parrot, hibiscus, and palms. And these colors I kind of struggle with, like this is really cool. I think I gravitate this palms color. I really gravitate towards warmer, like this vine leaf color here. I'm just more of a warm color person. But then look at this cool, beautiful hurricane color. Now that's pretty cool and it's gorgeous. So scratch what I said. Okay, let's do currents real quick. Here's Turkish Sea, jellyfish, and Caribbean Sea. Quite a mix of different blues and aquas. Here's your aquas and your greens and your blues. You just get so many lovely colors. And then with each color, you have a minimum of 5. I mean, really, this is just scratching the surface. You've got a minimum of 5 shades per color. Look at that granulation right there. Oh, gorgeous. And then not to mention when you start mixing them together, I mean, you get hundreds of colors with one kit. Look at that. Oh, that is so pretty. I love that these granulate without any help, just the nature of the chemical makeup of these paints, however they did it. Now, what I did when I went ahead and made all of these for my paint sets is I wanted to play around a little bit, and this is, I like to cut watercolor paper in half lengthwise, and I think this is 9 by 12. It's Canson watercolor paper. Yeah, 12, so I'm guessing 4.5. Yes, it is. So this is 9, starts out 9 by 12, cut in half lengthwise, easy peasy. And then what I did was I just decided, well, let's do a few palettes and see how they come out. So this one is Currents, Ocean, Tropicals, Tiki, and Currents, Deep Sea. Look at the granulating of all of those. Wow. Oh, I love that so much. I love it. Okay, here are the two. Let me move these. Here are the two samples I've done of this palette here. And I did this one darker, and then I added more water to this one. And of course I added sea salt to these, and a lot of the texture came from that. So there's that palette. And then this is Tropicals Coconut, Tropicals Tiki, and Terrain Crabapple. And that sample is right here. So just a real kind of a yellowy, brown, beige kind of, I like it. It's kind of like, you know, a real archaeological dig color palette. So there's that one. And then this one I decided to get a little bit wild, and I think I overworked the sample. It's okay, it's beautiful. I would like to have seen it be a little bit darker and more vibrant, so you can really water these down and get so much lighter, and you can add more pigment and get so much darker. So there's those. And then I conducted a great dig, an experiment that worked out more amazing than I could even believe. So let me show you what I did here. I want to leave those out because we're going to work with them in a minute. Okay. So this right here, I was amazed at how good this came out here. Look at that. Now that is, and I just played, and I don't know what colors I used exactly. And I can't, sometimes I just have to paint. I can't always be doing a palette. Sometimes I just got to put paintbrush to paper. But the miracle of this right here is this paper is, I tore out a bunch of these pages, and I don't know what kind of paper this is, but this is from my Delusions art journal, my Sacred Visions. This is my Delusions, and I want to do a lot of collage in here, so this is going to become very chunky. So the point is that I pulled some of these out, but I wanted to see if this paper would take watercolor, and look, oh my gosh. So this opens up all kinds of possibilities for my book, because if it's going to take watercolor this good, it will probably take Distress Oxides well, Distress Inks, and inks like Dr. Phil Martin's inks. So I really want to play big time in this book with those mediums. So here we go, off we go here, enough talking about that. Now what I've got here is 2 lengthwise, and then I've got 2 quarters. And as you saw, what I like, let's just work with one at a time. Isn't this gorgeous? I have to say, I am in love with this Complexion palette. Now, I'm not a person painter. I don't paint people. Try saying that fast 3 times. Anyway, this is, look at all the wonders of culture we have around this world. All the different colors of all the different people. And everybody brings something beautiful and incredible to the table. That's what I like to think of when I see this color palette. Now, there's colors in here that are, since I'm not a people painter, there's colors in here that are beautiful for the kind of work I want to do. Very nature-based, abstract, you know, botanical kind of watercolor work. So this set is amazing for that right there. Now you always want to activate your colors. So let me grab my squirt bottle. Here we are at this last color, and I just want to walk through it with you. So I get my brush pretty damp, it's not soaking, and then I go ahead and get quite a bit of pigment on this brush here, and then I want to just do my rectangle. I've had a lot of coffee, excuse the shaking. And then what I do is I want to take a little of that paint off, and I want to barely dip the point of my brush into my water, and then come in and make the second rectangle. Now that's pretty light, so while this is still wet, I'm going to pull a little pigment from there, and then the same thing. And you've just got to make minor adjustments as you go. So if it ends up too light, just pull a tiny bit more pigment from the one to the left. I like to work from darker to lighter. You could do this and add pigment. I just find this way easier. So I did my swipe and then tip of my brush. I have found that this is working pretty well for me. And then this one's even maybe a tiny bit dark, so you can pull a little bit more of that out even by drying your brush and sopping it up. Okay, now this one's a little too dark, so I'm going to take most of that paint out, dry out my brush, just keep drying out my brush here. Talking and working isn't always my strong suit. So I've got to keep that a little bit moist to pull that color out. So you can play with it either way. Okay, and then you've got your whole gradation. Now, a lot of these blooms are happening because I'm going back into this color, and I love that. I love the variation of that look, but if you want it more pure, like say this square here, just don't pull from your previous square. You can pull from your pigment, but it's so concentrated that it's tough to do that. So I never mind just pulling from the previous rectangle. Okay, let's take these colors while this is drying. Let's take these colors and play a little bit while we've got this out. So I've got my watercolor paper, and to keep it flat, I spray one side, then the other. I've got a lot of water on here, which I want, and I'm going to take a bigger brush. This is a 16 here, and I'm just going to start dropping in a few different colors. I want to look at this chart. I love them all. I want to go with these browns. I'm going to go with these two right past the gold and then add some gold highlights. So these two are the ones, I believe. Yes. Okay. Okay, so now that I've hit this with my dryer, I'm going to come in. I just hit it with my little heat tool here. I'm going to come in and add some more water to it. And then I want to add the gold. I'm going to use a smaller brush to get, actually, in fact, I'm going to use my fan brush. I like a fan brush for spatter. I think it works really well. I love gold watercolor. Oh my gosh, if you guys are fans of Creation CC, she's a watercolor gold fanatic. And I share that with her very much. So put a nice bunch of gold in here. I'm using such a thin fan brush that it doesn't look like it's doing much, but it's happening. Okay. So now you can even have some fun. I don't have it sitting here. You can put some salt on here. I'm not going to do this one. And you want to just be less is more with your salt. Just a little here, a little there. But we'll let this dry and come back and take a look at what we've done. Now all my colors are nice and dry, and as you saw with the other ones, what I like to do is take the name, because I want to of course cut these down into threes. So I'm going to take the name and just pop it somewhere where I can read it here. Complexion. And then I've got 12. Now it's probably not going to be able to see it there, so I'll go over here. 12, and then black, and of course you just want to go down and label your whole thing. Now on the next three it'll show up beautifully right here, so I can just plop it right on the top. And then this one is coconut, this one's okay. So maybe do one thing at a time, it's a little easier. 1, 2, 3. I get too much going at once, of course. I'm sure you can relate. And then 1, 2, 3. These colors, I love this kit. I love all the kits, but I really love this kit. It's so beautiful. And then, of course, I want to pop in 14, and you can just go down and do the numbers. 24. I've got Tiki in a couple different kits, which is just fine with me. This is so fun to be able to get to know your colors. And then, oh, that's going to be dark. Let's go over here. That's even dark. But this is the best way I have found to really get an intimate knowledge of the stuff that you have to work with, your supplies. That's what I'm trying to say. Talking and working again. Not very good at it. Okay. Okay, so there's those. And then you just want to come in here and do your names, of course. So I'm going to make this a two-parter because there's a whole lot of talking in this video. I just wanted to give you instruction. And then on part 2, we'll go through the pastels.